Hi, I'm Timothy Alexander White, once again with Bluetooth Television, and my co-host
Karwanna Dyson from San Francisco.
And we are here in the dressing room after the DL Hugley show. This is the second show. Yeah, it's luxurious, as you can tell. DL Hugley is here with us. He's been here before, and we are very happy that he's here once again. He performed last night and just finished performing the show, and this is one funny guy. And DL, I got to say, you look good. And you have always been one of my favorite comedians.
Thank you, man. That's very nice.
It's good to see you again. I like the style, too.
Thank you, man.
You changed up on us, huh?
No, you know.
All right.
You got to keep evolving.
All right.
Sharks got to swim or they don't stay around very long.
So I heard a few minutes ago you were over in, was it Belgrade?
Belgrade, Serbia.
Doing a movie, right?
We did a movie.
Tell us about it.
It was a beautiful city, and it was the first. Serbia has a lot of political upheaval, and so the Hotel Belgrade where we were staying, they had metal detectors so you couldn't walk in because a lot of leaders had been assassinated. So it was the first time that as a black guy, got to walk. I didn't have to go through the metal detector. All the white dudes did. And I was like, oh, this
kind of made you feel good, huh?
I was like, check him. He might not be. So yeah, it was a great city. It was very pretty.
Let me ask you a quick question. As far as movie goes, you being a comedian, doing a movie, must your role be comedic, or would you be doing something more of a serious kind of a thing?
I've done
what do you
serious
prefer?
movies. I've done comedies.
What's
But
your favorite?
to me, nothing really can compare to me to stand up. It's just the immediacy of it, and I think the kind of I think it's like a bit like working a tightrope without a net. You just kind of never know what to happen. I think that's some people skydive and some people hunt and some people tell jokes. I think that they all are looking for some kind of a rush, and that's just kind of what stand-up feels like to me.
I think that's a very unique profession to go around the world making people laugh by telling jokes. That's got to be something. It's just something unique to me.
You know, in the Bay Area, there's a lot of up-and-coming comedians.
Right.
So what type of advice would you give to an up-and-coming comedian?
I probably wouldn't tell them anything because I don't want competition, so I'll tell them to stop. No. But I think you have to love what you do. I think that you can't love the accoutrements or the surrounding things of what you do, the kind of latent things. Like some people love the women or the fame or money, but you have to love the art. And I think it's like when you're in a relationship, the only things that help it survive are love. When you stop loving a thing, I think it gets that much harder to do it.
A little earlier, we were talking about you and your style of comedy being a social commentary. When things happen in our world today, you can just about make fun of it immediate. What about the construct of a joke? Do you have to think about what I'm going to say, or just comes so naturally?
Well, I think the premise of it comes natural. I think that they kind of, because I think that there's a tendency just, in society to kind of be reticent about talking about anything that's immediate. Like almost like there's a grace period. Like too soon. But I think that the idea of being a comedian is you like the immediacy of it, and you like the idea of constructing a joke even at a time when people aren't necessarily feeling like they should laugh. It feels a bit like a guilty pleasure. It feels like something you're sneaking to do, and I think that kind of subversive element has always kind of appealed to me, comedians.
I mean, I would assume that it's challenging being in any area of the entertainment industry and having a family. Like, how do you balance your life?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that you have to have your family has to tend to adjust to you. It's like if somebody has a lazy eye and you have a conversation with them, either you will line yourself up to their vision, or you kind of get so distracted you leave. And I think that's the same thing. I think you have to ultimately have a family that is kind of raised to, and it's like somebody being raised who is a father, is a policeman or a fireman or in the army, where you know that there are things that come with that, and that's kind of the same thing, without the danger, but comedically you have to raise a family to be. Is
your family off limits? I notice you don't talk a lot about your family when you're doing jokes.
I think it has to be organic. I won't just bring my family up just to have them. It has to be kind of like germane to the topic. Like my son has Asperger's syndrome. We did a special called Reset where I did a bunch of stuff where I talked about how that made me feel. I've written about it in books. Like we launch our syndicated radio show in about 2 weeks, and my family's going to be an integral part of my daughter. So my oldest daughter will contribute to the segment. My youngest daughter will be a PA. My son will work there. So it will be. I think it's hard to be in close proximity with people you love and not have them work the way you act. I just don't want them to be fodder just to be fodder. It's just no one's off limits. I don't think any topic is, and certainly my family is not off limits either.
Some of your influences. comedians? Who
I think,
did you?
Of course, Dick Gregory, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Red Fox. But I think the greatest comedian I've ever seen is Robin Harris. He influenced me, I think, more so than anyone ever has.
Died too soon. Too soon. One of my favorites, really up and coming. I remember this one joke he told. I never will forget it. I met him. He said, talking about someone having yellow teeth. He said, "Your teeth so yellow, drink water, it turns to lemonade." And I thought that was hilarious, and I remember that so well.
He was.
So you've got the movie, you've got the syndicated radio show coming up. Any other aspirations? What are you going to be doing?
We're doing an FX show. We're doing a series on FX we're really excited about. And we have a deal with Fox to do an animated series about growing up called The Fives, which I'm really excited about. So it's just, I've never felt more succinct creative. I've never felt sharper. And I felt like the stakes were so high. So that kind of stuff really appeals to me. It's always gratifying to kind of be able to do the things that you really feel like you can sink your teeth into. So we'll be doing another special. I'll actually do a special in the Bay Area. I'll shoot it in San Francisco. So that'll be in January. It's going to be called Clear. So we got a lot of stuff to do.
Well, outside of Festival at Sea, what is one of your favorite venues you've performed at?
I mean, I love cities. I mean, I love the Northeast. I love the West. I love. I mean, it's just. I think that every area has something so unique about it that it appeals to me. I think, whether you go to the southern region or the northern region, but I think the extremes like the New Yorks and the Bay Areas are really just kind of, they're the same kind of people. They're well-read, they're sophisticated, they're urbane, and they are discretion. They have a lot of discretion. They don't want, they're not trite, and they don't like pedestrian. That's always a challenge.
I got to ask this. What has been your most challenging venue or challenging time? What was you wasn't getting the response you wanted, or it's just was tough, was hard?
That can kind of vary, but I think the most unforgettable gig I've had was I had a gig in Columbus at this theater, and I was getting heckled, and I got into these hecklers, and these cats came on stage with guns, and it was an interesting time. So that strikes me as the most memorable.
Jokes better be funny, or we're gonna have to shoot you.
Right. But I think that is the most memorable. But you can more than anything else for me. Laughs are kind of like way stations. You kind of just find these little pieces and you get to keep going. But silence works as well as a joke to me sometimes. I think that I like silence. When people are silent, sometimes they're straining or lifting. So you gotta be able to differentiate between the two. But I've had challenges, and that makes it fun. That makes it keeps you sharp.
And you've been cruising with Festival at Sea a few times. So, how do you like cruising with us?
I think I've noticed that people have gotten different. Okay. I think they're more sophisticated. I think nobody knew what it was at first, but now they're professional cruisers. They know exactly how to cruise. They know what to do. They know what the ports are, and they've been enough places where they kind of know where to eat, they just know, And you can always tell when they're newer groups, people, a lot of new people, as opposed to people who are seasoned veterans. This one has probably a lot more new people.
A lot more newer,
and you can tell they don't know what they do. You know that.
What if you weren't a comedian? What would you be doing?
In my mind, I always say I want to be a saxophone player.
Is that right?
That's the coolest shit ever.
Have you had a chance to meet with John Sax, who's cruising with us?
I have not, but
you should. I'm
taking flying lessons and saxophone lessons.
Okay.
I think I think that's the coolest shit ever.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at a woman. Yes.
It is. It's a sexy instrument.
Do you have a favorite joke, a favorite story that you tell?
I don't. Because that would be. It's like why I don't take pictures. I think you cheat. Women take pictures and they always go, I just want my memory. Well, you are blunting your memory by knowing that you already have this thing to depend on. It's like riding a bike with training wheels. If you don't force yourself to actually have to remember it, when I'll take a picture, then you just stop trying to remember. You categorize. You put it in you catalog as opposed to trying to remember it. I think so. To me, stories are like that. I never marry them. I just date them. Like I don't want to be so connected to them that they have to stay around. I
notice one thing you do in your shows, and to me I think is very challenging because you challenge your wit. And that's when you ask people in the audience, you ask them questions, how long you been married, this, that, and the other. Because depending on what they say or not say, it gives you an opportunity to create something instantly to make everybody laugh. You know, you got to be on your toes.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's part of the exercise too.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of gymnastics. It's like working out. I think that anything that is hard is making you better in some kind of way, and that is actually my favorite part to do. I mean, I love writing jokes. I love performing, but that being on that tightrope where you never kind of know what people are going to say or how they're going to feel.
So you mentioned writing jokes. When you write jokes, do you test them? Hey, you ask your wife, is this funny? Do you think this is funny?
Woman I've ever Well, my wife is very.
But it has to be funny to you first. If you laugh, then you use it in the show.
It has to be clear to me. It has to be clearly constructed. It has to make, like a musician. You're on radio, so the things have to. You don't have to know how to write a song to know what sounds like a well-written song.
Right, okay.
But in order to write a joke, it has to line up. It has to make sense. It has to have a certain flow to it. But that's really the most important thing to me. And I think, to be clear, the most important element of a joke to me, from my perspective, is how I feel about it. What is my clearly defined point of view about this particular subject? And that really kind of, there are jokes I can't wait to tell. That I really enjoy telling. But those are mostly jokes that make people feel uncomfortable.
Like I couldn't wait to tell about you on the CNN.
Oh, yeah. But no, but I think it's just I love the element. I love the art of it. I love all the elements of it. I think that they are just tailor-made for my sensibilities, and I'm just the great thing about what I do is that if you do it well, you get to do it again. So
Comedy, how many years for you?
23.
23 years. Wow. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's great. Anything
so
else?
what is it like in the coming up in the Los Angeles area?
I think it's the funny thing about it now is I think that all areas of the country are kind of caricatures of what they think Los Angeles was. Like I see gangs that were in Los Angeles and now all across the country. So it's almost like they've taken the worst of us. Like for Italians, I guess the Godfather changed there. Cubans, Godfather changed there, and I think colors changed the way people saw Los Angeles. And there was just Boys in the Hood, and, Menace to Society, and I think they took the very worst elements of us, and I think it's kind of spread like a cancer. And I think that people are. But I think it's a dynamic that often happens. It's a city where I grew up in Los Angeles. People were fresh from the South, much like not too different from the Bay Area. People were fresh from the South, and there was a lot more Southern sensibilities than there are now. And I think that people now just it's like you take the worst of anything. Like if everything that we're dealing right now, like gangs, gangster rap, all that stuff came from our city, and that's unfortunate to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, man, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Likewise.
Getting a chance to
Thank you, man. Thank you.
find out a lot more about you. Yeah, we'll do some talking pretty soon. I'm sure we've got some things to talk about anyway.
For sure.
All right, for sure. Thanks, Karwanna, for being here. This is Timothy Alexander White, Karwanna, Dyson, Bluetooth Television, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, my Serbian friend.
Savon.